Welcome to the Better Than We Found It podcast. Conversations with ordinary people doing extraordinary things in the workplace and in their communities in hopes of leaving this place better than we found it. I'm your host, Dino, and I'd personally like to thank both of you for showing up. This episode's guest is guitar player, producer, songwriter, steel guitar player, band leader, marathon runner, dog owner, my friend and co-worker, Denny Hemingson. Denny is an amazing guitar player, steel guitar player, and an even more amazing friend and individual. He has a huge heart. He's even gone on to study functional medicine and get his certification as a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. Say that 3 times fast. You guys, I know you're going to enjoy this conversation with me and my buddy Denny. We have so much fun together. He tells us great jokes. I should have had him tell you a joke, but Big Orange Head really is his best. But anyways, sit back, have a laugh with us, and enjoy my conversation with steel guitar player, band leader, friend, Denny Hemingson. Welcome to the Better Than We Found It podcast. I'm Dino, your host, and this episode I get a chance to catch up with my dear friend, Denny Hemingson. Denny and I go way back 30 plus years, and you cannot find a more well-rounded individual. He is an outstanding musician, and he is an amazing human being. I love this guy, and I know that you guys will love him too. So sit back and enjoy my conversation with Denny Hemingson. Denny.
Dino.
What are you doing?
I'm drinking coffee. What are you doing?
I'm drinking coffee as well. I'm staring out my back window at my unmowed backyard.
Well, I've got mowing in my future as well.
You're a fortune teller.
All the rain we had made the grass just shoot up. It's crazy.
Dude, I know. I thought I had given my guy, I told him, man, let's just mow it one more time for the year. I think we're good. And then Helena.
Yep.
Bitch.
She had other plans for us.
Mother Nature, you can never, trust Mother Nature. And what was the other thing? What was the commercial?
Don't take no wooden nickels? I don't know.
No, the Mother Nature commercial with the was it butter or something back in the day? Never trust.
Oh, yeah.
Don't fool with Mother Nature. Is that what it was?
Right.
Don't fool with Mother Nature. Well, we're rolling, so I'm not going to surprise you or anything, but thank you for calling. Thank you for showing up for me. And I know it's uncomfortable sometimes to do. I'm nervous. I'm nervous because, you're my friend and all, and we've had a relationship together, but I've never sat and probed your mind like you're about to.
Well, there's not much in there to probe, Dean. So.
You're lying. You're lying. You're being very, very humble, like you are, like the gentleman that you are. But no, man, it's this conversation. Just gonna have a quick talk. It'll be over before we know it, and then I'll chop it all up and make us sound smart.
Cool. Maybe you can AI my voice and just have some better answers.
Hello, my name is Denny Hemingson. No, well, I think the main, of course, all your musical accomplishments and everything. I'm really kind of interested in your journey into the functional medicine world, and I was looking on your Wikipedia page, which is, handball champion 1976. I didn't know you played handball.
And, so
I didn't either. Where'd that come from?
it's not true.
No.
Damn it. No,
That's
there's not a
hilarious.
Wikipedia. There's not a Wikipedia page, but you do have like a Sound Better page where you got some really nice comments and some reviews. But I think what you mentioned, like how you like to spend some of your time, and you mentioned, you've been studying to be a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner,
Yeah.
and all that stuff. And I think that's awesome because, that's doing exactly what this little podcast is kind of titled, leaving it better than we found it. You, aside from playing music and doing all these great things, you've turned your, a passion towards helping other people and trying to help people live a better life and not take a bunch of medication and stuff, So eventually we'll wind up there, but I kind of try and put myself in the perspective of our listener and what they want to know about Denny. And so I just kind of like, you're from Sioux City, Iowa.
Yeah.
Yeah, born and raised.
Well, born in Ames, Iowa,
Born.
and we moved to Sioux City when I was in kindergarten. And so, I grew up there, and that feels like home to me, even though I was, born in Ames, Iowa. But yeah,
How far are the two?
It's probably like I don't know, 3 or 4 hour drive, I would guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's been so long since I've driven it, so I'm not really sure, but it's something like that.
And so, Sioux City, Iowa, man, I don't think when you were a kid, did you have dreams of being a musician?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I loved music. I've, like a lot of guys my age, I saw the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, and it was like, wow, I want to do that. That was really cool. And so, I talked my folks into getting me a guitar. Had like a plastic guitar, I think,
Yeah.
and started, messing around with it, and the rest is history, I guess.
And so, like, neither one of your parents had any kind of musical
Well,
background?
no, they did.
Yeah.
My mom sang and played piano, and my dad was actually a clarinet player and also played harmonica pretty well. And so yeah, there's some music in our family. My both my grandfathers played in bands when they were young.
Wow.
Like local bands and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
One was a violin player, Dino.
Wow.
Like you, and then
Yeah.
the other one played piano, and sang. But
So you had it in your genes back there. It wasn't, total left turn that you decided to, you fell in love with the Beatles and the sound and probably the way everybody's going crazy,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was
you know?
exciting. It was a whole different kind of a new thing for the music world when they came out. But
And so you were what, youngster, 12, 13?
Younger. This was, I think it was 64 when they came out, so I would have been 7, I guess, or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
And so
I
for
had
the
2
next,
older sisters, so they were really into the pop music of the day, and so I got exposed to that stuff of, younger than maybe a lot of people did. But
chicks dancing and stuff, turning the music up and
yeah.
pulling the carpet back. My mom used to always do that. I thought it was stupid, I think. But yeah, I'd have her girlfriends over and, and I was young. I was really young when my mom did that. But anyways, so 7 years old, 8 years old, you're playing a little plastic guitar, want to be a Beatle. And then,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And then, you started getting into your teenage years and started listening to, I'm sure, rock, what were your influences there? I mean, what was your first, like, after the Beatles, who'd you see that said, oh yeah, that's...
So many of them, but I remember listening to like Zeppelin, of course, and Steppenwolf,
Yeah.
Guess Who, all those kind of bands that were out, when I was a teenager, and started playing with some other guys in town that had the
The
same
bug.
influences that I did. And I also listened, talking about early influences, probably due to my
Mm-hmm.
sisters and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to a lot of like 50s and early 60s stuff, and it was really accessible and easy to play. So I played a lot of that in bands. Or we just get together and jam, but they were easy songs to learn and play when you didn't know much, So,
Right. Right.
so a lot of that, and then eventually uh, I had a friend that was a little bit older than me that we'd get together and play guitars, and he started playing in a local band, and then eventually they were looking for a guitar player, so
Mm-hmm.
he talked to the guy about me, and but they were playing in bars and stuff, and I was like, I don't know, 14 years old or something. And
Yeah. Yeah.
so the guy called my mom and he said, hey, I'm going to look out for him, and you know if you'll let him do this, I'll make sure he's okay and everything. And so she agreed, and I started
Uh-huh.
playing out in these local clubs and stuff.
Bar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have to audition or anything? Did you have any gear when you went, when these guys heard you play? I guess by that time, electric guitar, you playing that a long time, you probably had amps and stuff.
Yeah, I had an old Fender Bandmaster, and I wish I had it today because it would be
No
worth a lot of
shit.
money.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I had the Fender Bandmaster, and then I had my electric guitar, and I think I bought a Electro Harmonix Big Muff, fuzz pedal that I loved and everybody else hated when I turned it on. So
Did that give you the doo 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 doo
exactly.
doo, right? Was that one of the first licks you learned?
Oh yeah, one of them for sure. Iron
Yeah.
Man, that was a big one.
Iron Man for
Yeah.
sure. That's funny because when Gabe, one of my kids, was playing guitar, those are the first songs they learned. Still,
Yes, they're
Iron
classic.
Man and what's that? I've been waiting. Is that Cream, right?
Yeah,
Love of my life,
Sunshine of Your
Sunshine
Love.
of my life,
Your love.
and
Yeah.
of your love. You're right,
Yeah.
Sunshine of your love, and that's funny. But that's the Big Muff sound.
Yeah. Totally. Or it was to me. I used it for everything. That's all I had.
Yeah, yeah, just to change it up.
Yeah.
And so you started jamming in clubs, 14 years old, playing Zeppelin and Hendrix and Cream and just
Well, honestly, that's a little bit of that, but not much. The guy that I started working with, Jack Langley, who is, still a good friend, but
yeah.
he was a country singer, and so
Uh-huh.
that was my first exposure to country music, and I kind of fell in love with it after doing playing those gigs with him, and so yeah, that's more of what the club thing was about. We did some we did some rock gigs with other I did some rock gigs with other guys, like you know not so much clubs, but school dances and things like
Yeah.
that, and that's where
Yeah.
we played rock stuff. But the club thing was more of a country thing.
And so like that was your first gig in with Jack,
First real like club gig, yeah.
like club gig. And so
Yeah.
did they give you like, these are the songs we need you to learn? Here's
No, it was all like, I'm
come
going to
on
do
in.
this song whether I knew it or not. Here we go.
Yeah, fill
And
in.
yep, and it was great ear training,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I didn't know these songs to begin with, and I just made up my own uh,
Yeah.
version of what I'm going to play on it. I didn't copy records or anything. He just would start playing these songs, and I'd play with him,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's how it was. And then sometimes I'd hear then I'd hear the song later from the original recording, and I went, "Oh, I should probably play something different there."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But you're right. That's, perfect for just like learning how to swim. You just jump in and start kicking your legs and keep moving your arms, and you knew the chord, you knew the key, and just kind of fill in, and very, very open for interpretation and
Totally. It's a great way
exploring.
to learn how to improvise and,
Yeah.
and train your ears to hear chord changes and stuff,
And by the time you come in front of the original, then it's easy. I was, you kind of have a feel for the song and the changes and stuff. So when you moved, kind of fast forwarding out of the club scene in Sioux City still, right? When you started with Jack?
Yeah, that was still in Sioux City. And then after high school, I moved up to Minneapolis, and because, bigger city and stuff. And um, I went to school up there for a couple of years and studied broadcasting. And
You were going to be a DJ.
I worked in radio for a few
Yeah,
years, and
that's
then,
right.
but I was always playing music, the whole time. And then I ended up getting a house gig up there, and I quit the whole radio thing because honestly, I could make more money playing music, and that's what I really wanted to do anyway.
Yeah.
So I quit that, and then from then on, I was all in and full time musician. So
Yeah, you mentioned, or you've told me several times before, where you'd have to do the morning show or have something going on with DJing and come in super late. Did that ever happen, or is that somebody else?
no, that was me for sure.
Okay.
It was. I mean, good thing I was really young because it was a brutal schedule, but it did actually take me down. I ended up getting mono.
That's right.
Because I'd run myself down so far, it was just like 2 or 3 hours of sleep every night and just going, but
Yeah.
But you find out if you don't rest, your body will force you to do that. So
That's probably why there's no more DJs.
Yeah, it could be.
They fucking killed them,
Yeah.
but so then Minneapolis, you're still just playing guitar? Have you ventured into the pedal steel world, or?
At some point in Minneapolis, I ventured into pedal steel, and
Yeah. What was that? I mean, what was that like? What brought you? I mean, wow, pedal steel.
Yeah.
So complicated. It seems like.
By that time, I'd kind of really gotten into the country music thing and listened to the records and stuff, and I'm like, man, I love that sound, and so I wanted to learn it, and then, but it takes, I'm still trying to learn it, honestly, and it takes a long time on that instrument, or it did for me anyway. But I worked with a good friend of mine who actually lives close to here now in Nashville, Mike Cass, who is a phenomenal steel player and musician all around. And I worked in bands with him, and man, that was really helpful, honestly, to a guy trying to learn, because I'd heard what he played, and I could never come close, but it was just a great learning experience to just kind of play with him every night, and see what he played. And so anyway, that I kind of just evolved into it. And I'd go through times where I wouldn't play it for a long time because in a band that we didn't use it. And then, once in a while I'd bring it out. And but eventually I got proficient enough to, not be too embarrassed when I take it out and play it.
Yeah. It's definitely, I would say, maybe harp might be the next, I don't even know, might be the next hardest instrument to play in the world. But real quick,
how about violin? That's pretty hard.
Yeah, but it's only, I only got two things, like my left hand and my right hand going.
Yeah.
You got knees and feet, and for the guys sitting way back, in the auditorium thinking you're playing keyboards, explain real quick just in a real fast way you can, steel guitar. What you got going on there?
Well, okay, so it's the
It's
standard.
only an hour. It's only an hour show. So
Okay.
Okay, keep it short.
Well, we might have to do a part 2 then.
Okay.
No, so it's it's 10 strings. It's kind of the standard setup, and it's gosh, how do you explain this? But
Yeah,
so it has
like flying a
pedals.
plane.
It has pedals that are hooked to the bridge, which it's called a changer, and the pedals and also knee levers will alter the pitch of different strings, like either raise them or lower them by a whole step or half step, typically, sometimes more. But so if you do that, you can change, within that, whatever the chord is tuned to, with just open strings and not engaging any pedals or knee levers. Then when you engage them, you can change it to a different chord. So that's the, kind of the
So
essence of it. But yeah,
you mash down.
you mash down, and so you're raising, one string will maybe raise a whole step on a couple different strings, and the next pedal will raise it a half step on different on other strings, and so you can change that chord within that same position.
Right. And then
And
knee
then you have
levers.
the knee levers do the same thing, just with different different strings. And
But they go side to side.
yes,
So
but they're all raising or lowering, whether it's a
right.
pedal or a knee lever. And then you have combinations, of course, where you're hitting one pedal, maybe two pedals, or a pedal and a knee lever, two pedals and a knee lever,
Yeah.
two knee levers. There's so many combinations, that get different chords.
And so your pedals are with your left foot.
Yep.
Knee levers work with both knees.
Both knees, yeah.
Yeah.
My setup has 6 knee levers. So
Gee.
there's the left knee has the right and left levers, and so does the right knee, and then the left knee also has an up lever. So if you raise your knee up, it engages that, and then there's another lever that goes to the right, that you kind of have to move your knee over, and it's set further back, so you got to kind of push your knee in and then engage that one. So,
and then the strings on top of the strings, you have no frets, and you're sliding this metal bar across it, trying to be in perfect pitch.
Yeah, kind of like violin, where you
kind of like, but no, not even close. I mean, that's just way more. That's just way more.
At
difficult.
least we actually have fret markers on the pedal steel. You don't have that on violin, so you can kind of sight it in a little bit and then fine tune it with your ear. So the markers are definitely helpful.
Your right foot is operating
a volume pedal.
A volume pedal.
Yeah.
So you're like literally like flying a plane up there, and sometimes, I'm just listening to you explain knee levers and pedals, and to somebody who watching from, 50 yards out or whatever, 20 yards out, might think you need to go pee. Yeah. Because you're just kind of dancing around up there, just kind of.
And sometimes you do need to go pee,
Oh, do I know that in a bad way? Buddy Emmons is credited with coming up with that beast.
Well, I don't know that he came up with the actual first pedal steel, but he definitely, changed everything about the pedal steel, inventing kind of the tuning and the way the pedals work, with the modern way we play today. There were guys before him that hooked up pedals, but he kind of fine tuned everything, and
what a genius.
The stuff that he came up with is how we use it today. Yeah, incredible. I mean, what a mind.
Yeah. And it's definitely all steel. It's heavy as.
It's pretty heavy.
Pretty heavy. You were once credited early in our career as the world's strongest steel guitar player, and you probably still are. I mean, if we were to hold a competition, age category, probably in your age category.
Maybe in the age group, that
age
could
group. But yes, it is a heavy beast, and I've heard from our crew guys, John P., who I had on a couple weeks or last episode maybe. It's heavy. He talks about. I don't think he talked about this episode, but he has mentioned before how heavy it is lugging that around.
Well, and I've gone to single necks. I used to carry a double neck around, but
oh my god,
those are really heavy. But the single neck takes a little of the weight off. So
yeah. So Minneapolis, you find you fall in love with the steel guitar, and you move to Hawaii.
Yeah, and
makes sense.
What's that?
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean that's where it kind of the original steel guitar was invented. So no pedals or anything, but I didn't move over there for that though. I moved over there for the weather.
You were tired of the Minnesota weathers, huh?
Totally, yeah. So
damn.
So we moved over there, and we were over there for I think almost 7 years or something like that. So
nice.
But I did get to take some lessons from Jerry Bird, who is a very famous, for people who don't know anything about steel, very famous steel player. And actually he, before pedals, he is credited with inventing some of the tunings that were used. And he was a A-team Nashville session player for many years until pedals came in, and then he didn't really want to make that switch.
Really?
And for good reason. I mean, the guy was incredible, the way he could slant the bar, and he could pretty much make you think you were listening to a pedal steel, the way he could, bend, slant the bar and do all these things, and perfectly in tune and great tone, and just incredible player. But I think toward the end of his Nashville time, a lot of steel players were coming in, and pedal steel players, and he started playing. He'd be on acoustic guitar or bass or something on the sessions because everybody wanted pedal steel, and he never made the switch. But so eventually he's like, man, I'm going to move to Hawaii because that's where the way I play really fits. Because all those guys back then learned from the Hawaiian players.
Wow.
So he moved there and had a nice career post Nashville, playing, in Waikiki and stuff, but and recording, but I was fortunate enough to take lessons from him before he passed, and
amazing.
It was a great experience, not only for the steel guitar instruction, but just to listen to his stories. It was phenomenal to be able to sit there and talk to him about that stuff. But
and so, while you're in Hawaii, you're not playing country gigs, are you? You're playing.
I'm playing everything. I'm playing country gigs because there's a lot of country music over there. Several clubs that had country music, all week long, and then also the military bases. A lot of those guys love country music, so played a lot of country music over there, and then, but also played variety and some kind of jazz standard gigs, and just everything across the board.
You're also like an amazing jazz guitar player. And where'd you get those chops? Did you?
I wouldn't say amazing, but
I do. I mean, is that all ear training? Is that just listening and learning, or did you study?
I studied a little bit. I kind of, so this is probably boring, but
I'll cut it out.
I got into country music, and then via country music, got exposed to some of the Bob Wills stuff and the Sleep at the Wheel, and which is basically Bob Wills, but some of the Western swing, and then that stuff kind of led me into wanting to learn jazz,
Those
so
crazy chords, yeah.
yeah, so that's how the route I took there, and then I got it really into it for a while,
So that's all
and
just self-taught.
well, pretty much, but I
Yeah.
did take I did take some courses through Berkeley, and also some private lessons
Mm-hmm.
with guys that were great jazz players,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's kind of a piecemeal way to do it, um, but I learned I learned some of it,
Yeah,
and
man.
then realized I couldn't really use it anywhere, so I haven't I haven't kept up with it, but someday maybe I'll get back into it because I do love it.
Yeah, and you do it so well. You're just sitting around while you're noodling. I love just hearing you just play those soft little jazz melodies. And if you ask anybody in our group, they will say you're an amazing jazz player. So just saying. Um, and so in Hawaii, you're playing jazz gigs, solo gigs, country gigs,
Yep.
and just kind of making a living there on playing music, huh?
Yep. Yeah, totally.
And
And
and just figured I'm gonna take it to the next level.
yeah, for the Nashville move, yeah,
Yeah.
I did well in Hawaii, but I realized at a certain point, it's a small island. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, this is my limit here,
Uh-huh.
I kind of realized that it's like, if I stay here, this is it, so I decided to, pack it up and move to Nashville and see what I could get going there. And
Yeah. My first when I was reading through your Sound Better stuff, and I thought, wow, Sioux City to Minneapolis to Hawaii to Nashville. Most people would have said, I know how to play guitar. I kind of learned how to play steel guitar. That's very country. Let me just go to Nashville. But you definitely were tired of the cold weather and wanted to get someplace warm. And then you wouldn't have been able to have the opportunities you met Jerry and took those lessons and had that huge influence. You know, it's funny how it works out
it is
because
funny, who knows why we do the things we do, but I
we
mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe if I'd have moved to Nashville sooner, I don't know how things would have worked out.
right.
And maybe I wasn't ready. So who knows? It's
Yeah,
just
and so you finally decided to leave the beautiful weather of Hawaii and go to Nashville because, yeah, like you said, you kind of ran out of room, when you're on an island.
yeah. There's a finite number of places to play, and I worked a lot,
Yeah,
and too much really,
yeah,
because it's not cheap to live over there for one thing.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I had to work a lot, and it was fun, and I don't regret a minute of it. But I just realized, that was the extent of what I could do there. So that's why I decided to make the move and see what I could accomplish in Nashville.
And that was like in '93, you said,
I
about
moved in '93, and then
'93.
um, within a few months, I got a gig with Paulette Carlson,
Wow. What
and
was the move, that initial move from Hawaii to Nashville? Did you have a place to live? Did you have work I mean, you were just packed it up and
I
moved.
did not have work, but
Hmm.
you know, I I never had work when I moved somewhere. I just went
Yeah.
for it.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, but I had met, there was a guy that I had met and actually played on some of his recordings in Hawaii,
Hmm.
who did country music.
Hmm.
He was like a songwriter guy, and
Hmm.
he had been going back and forth to Nashville, and he was a contractor by trade, and I think he made pretty good money and stuff. So
Hmm.
he kept a condo in Nashville, and he had it rented out to another musician, but that guy had been playing. He was in Branson playing a house gig, so he was never there. And he
Hmm.
said, it's a 2 bedroom. He says, you can rent it from me. And he says that there's another guy living there, but he's never there. So
Hmm. Yeah.
and actually, my wife Diana had
Mm-hmm.
stayed back, and I moved first just to see if I could get something going, and
Mm-hmm.
she stayed back to kind of wrap things up in Hawaii and finish up her. She had her own business, and she kind of finished all that up, and
Mm-hmm.
so anyway, I moved first, and she followed a couple months later. But anyway, so yeah, I had this place where I could live,
Yeah.
and so I did that for a while, and played some club gigs, and some little demo sessions, and kicked around, and then the Paulette thing worked out. So I
Paulette
played,
Carlson, and was it
yeah,
Highway 101 at the time still?
yeah. Well, it was when she had left Highway 101, and
Uh-huh.
she had a solo record out, so we toured on that record,
Yeah.
and that was I did that for a year, and then Tim's after that was done, then Tim's thing came available, and
Yeah. Did you
wow, the rest is history.
when you worked that Paulette Carlson gig, did you feel like, man, I made it? You know, you know,
uh, yeah, I'm out doing it. Yeah, kind of.
yeah,
I mean, I don't
yeah.
know. I never feel like I made it, honestly,
Yeah.
but but it was, it was exciting, and hey, I got my first Nashville gig,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, it's even sometimes today for me it's still hard to believe that I'm living here and doing it. But when you move here and you make the choice to move here, I kind of gave myself a time limit, and if it hadn't worked out in that much time, I was going back to my little pond,
yeah,
and I'm sure you guys had that same kind of a outlook.
yeah.
We'll
It's
see
weird,
what
man.
happens.
I never, it seems like I didn't even have a plan. It's just like I just would do stuff, and if it worked, if it worked out, it would be great, and if it didn't, I'd move on and figure out something else.
But you're right, it kind of worked out.
Yeah,
You fell into the Tim thing, weeks before one of his biggest albums hit, with one of his biggest songs.
yeah.
Um,
Isn't that crazy? And you were,
I was
you,
right behind.
yeah,
I
you
was
were
right
a
behind you, but
couple months later, but wow, what a run,
and yeah, it has been just that. What were your thoughts when you got hooked up with Tim? On the first. I mean, it wasn't. Oh, I'll be doing this for 30 years. It wasn't.
No, I mean,
You
it's
know.
just there wasn't a plan. It was just like, well, here's my next gig,
Yeah. Yeah.
and and then we, remember that first year that you and I joined.
Yeah. Yeah.
We played what 250 shows or something, gone
We
300
were
days out of the year.
we were gone a
I
long
mean,
time.
it was slammed. Good thing we were young back then.
And you remember playing, I mean, we would do, he still had like clubs he needed to honor, or
Yeah,
he wanted to honor. So, one night we'd go from the Fuzzy Duck to the next night, some arena somewhere.
right.
And it was like, wow, is this, well, I don't even think I thought about it. I think it was just another gig, and I was just kind of happy to be there.
Yeah, that's how it started for me too. It's like, hey, I'm happy to have a gig and be out touring, and look at this, I get to play in arenas, and it was it all just kind of happened to us, didn't it?
It did
Yeah.
in a fast way. And again,
And after
back
that
to,
first year, then man, Tim's career just exploded, and that the second year we were headlining.
yeah. That was the second year was the Little Texas and Black Hawk and Tim, or that was the first year.
I think it was the second year. The first year, we opened for Sawyer Brown and Diamond
Oh, that's
Rio.
right. That's right. I
Yeah.
remember that. I remember that the fanfare gig where there was something going on stage between the bass players, John Boy and the bass
Right.
player from Sawyer Brown, but little John Boy standing there, like just, hey babe, cigarette in hand, and
Yeah.
didn't know what the hell he's doing. I think he unplugged the bass player's rig or some shit like that. Had no clue.
Oh
John
man,
Boy.
that's great. Yeah,
So
but
so
man,
yeah.
that was the year we were, going between clubs and arenas, and just like on the road constantly.
Protesters. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. That's the one thing that you just never know what to expect. And even now, in this current day and time, you never know what to expect and what's gonna put us in the limelight. And at that point, it was it was Tim's decision to have Indian Outlaw, and we had some people who weren't happy with it. And you can't. What's the saying? You can please most of the people most of the time, but you can't please,
exactly.
you can't please all the people all the time. And so
That's right.
show up to a gig and there'd be a line around the building of people protesting the song, and so.
But there would also be a longer line of people wanting to get in and see him.
Yeah.
So it all worked out. But I mean, just my opinion. But it's like that song wasn't meant to, put anybody down, or it was just a fun novelty song. So
Tommy Barnes wrote a fun dance song. Where the line dancing was huge, and that just had that whole kind of vibe, and it was a great song. I think it still is a great song. And I'm Native American, so I have no reason to hate it. It's a fun song. It's novelty. It's art. But what'd you think of this year's tour?
Man, I think this year's tour could possibly be the best tour we've ever done. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed it so much, and I think the crowd did too. It was just a great production. I loved our set list, and all the little extra stuff we did, and the way they lit it, and the video, and I mean everything kind of came together this year.
I was talking with John P. and same thing. It's funny. Everybody I spoke to, same thing. Man, it was such a good time. The crew was amazing. The people that travel with us from the other bands and all the other band musicians, and it's just such a great vibe to be involved with. And then, the production of the stage and lighting was amazing. Just that screen was so crystal clear and
so vivid. I mean, all the colors and everything. It's just, I wish I could have been out there to watch it.
Exactly.
Because we don't get the full picture of what's happening. But when I've seen clips of it, I'm like, man, that looks really great.
It was amazing. And then the set list was like a fast moving river. And before I knew it, we were 3/4 of the way done. And it's just like, wow, that felt like 30 minutes. And
it flew by every night. It's like, sometimes at the end of a tour, it seems like it gets longer and longer, but not this year for me anyway.
Mm-hmm. It was just, it was a great time. And, kudos to you for putting together. I know you're going to say, well, we all did it, but you're our band leader. You drive the boat, and, there's a lot of creative juices coming from you that people don't know about. And, if it's not a small little soundtrack in the set, it's suggestions for arrangements or it all comes from the top down, and your calmness, your personality kind of definitely aids in being a good leader and a good musician, leader, band leader. We love you. The guys all think you're great. And I'm not just trying to stroke your ego on a podcast, but I'm just speaking the honest truth. The guy, you are a great leader.
I appreciate it, man. You're going to make me cry.
Sorry, damn it. I did that to Paul too. Paul got all teary-eyed, but it was about something else. I forget what, Love of Ireland or something. I don't know. But so then, musician, you're in the Iowa Musicians Hall of Fame.
Yeah, man. That was so cool awesome of them to to recognize me and offer that up. So
that's awesome.
I really appreciated that.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll take just a quick little diversion here, because I know you were the one that have always been kind of like my inspiration into like functional medicine, grounding, the benefits of cold water therapy. I turn to you lots of times with a lot of my, thyroid situations. You've read panels for me. You've kind of found a passion in functional medicine and helping other people get over some of the obstacles in life. What spawned that interest?
Well, mainly just I wanted to figure out my own health, really.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of started on that journey to, to do the right things for myself, and hopefully, keep myself healthy and being able to withstand the rigors of touring and all that stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
so I took a course, functional diagnostic nutrition, and man, I learned a lot, and did some other just stuff, learning on my own outside of that, just trying to figure stuff out and figure out a natural way to stay healthy and not have to rely on a lot of medications. I mean, I don't have anything against medications if they're needed, but I think a lot of times you can avoid that if you do the right things, like lifestyle things and dietary things, So that's, it was really to figure out stuff for myself. But after I learned about it, I started trying to help other people with, whatever's going on with them. So
Yeah.
that's that.
Yeah, that's I mean, I benefit from it personally. We work out together, and you always give me advice. I always ask it because I know that you've studied and learned a lot about this way of living, and I'm not big on taking medications just for a headache or whatever. But some of I'll turn to you and you'll say, oh, try this supplement, or try getting more sleep, which is the big thing I think
Yeah, totally.
that we suffer from, is not enough sleep when we're on the road. But functional medicine is what, essentially, like you said, just trying to, what's the definition of a functional doctor or a functional diagnostic nutritionist?
Yeah. Just to, I guess in functional diagnostic nutrition, Reed Davis is the guy that invented it, basically. But it's the same stuff with, there's a bunch of different practitioners and doctors, and that do functional medicine, and it's all pretty much similar. Where what Reed says is you treat the whole body non-specifically, and so by doing that, you just make your whole body healthy, and a lot of times the specific symptoms and problems you're having just kind of go away.
Yeah.
And that's just doing. It's mainly lifestyle stuff, and there are sometimes some supplements can help and that, but yeah, that's kind of the theory behind it.
Yeah, and you breathing exercises have been something that I've grown to appreciate and try, and I can't fall into it really makes me nauseous. But once I get past that little headache and that little nauseousness, oh my gosh, after a breathing session, I feel so rejuvenated and just calm,
Yeah, it's incredible, and it's amazing what some oxygen will do.
Right? When you
But
breathe like we're supposed to breathe, not shallow and quick
yeah,
breaths, but nice, long, deep breaths. Yeah, it's amazing.
I mean, there's a lot of I mean, this is an ancient thing. Yogis and people will have used breathing for for hundreds of years, and it does have some physiological effects on your body, and it's great for stress reduction and help you relax, and it's just a healthy habit to use.
Breathing is here to stay, bro.
It is. If we didn't breathe, we'd be dead.
we wouldn't have this problem.
Exactly.
But yeah, your passion and your journey into the functional medicine world has benefited all of us on the bus in some way or another. I'm still putting coffee grounds on my head, and I'm not getting any hair.
Hey, I'll try anything,
But yeah, there was one time where we were putting coffee grounds on our
bald heads.
on our thinning hair. It wasn't. I think the boys still ask me, "Dad, you still putting coffee grounds on your hair?" Shut up. But
hey, if it's not harmful, I'll try anything.
Sure. Yeah. Give me a big old head of hair up there, put a little coffee, and smell like coffee all day. I love it.
Yeah.
So, we live a pretty chaotic lifestyle, and you're always so calm. I've hardly ever seen you upset. How do you maintain that calm, equal tempered demeanor out there on the road?
Oh, well, I don't know. I'm inside, I'm a ball of nerves.
You're screaming on the inside.
Yeah. No, but I think, part of it's just the way I am. But the other part is, you mentioned breathing, and I do things that, to help with that. I think the breathing exercises and cold exposure, that kind of thing really helps, overcome stressful situations.
Mm-hmm. We did, where was it that you invited me to do the cryogen?
Yeah, Salt Lake City, at the U.S. Cryo.
U.S. Cryo in Salt Lake City. We had some time before a show, and we went in for was it massage and cryotherapy? What did we do? Was it
chiropractic? They have so many different modalities there. I can't remember exactly, but I think I had the Theragun treatment, and
that's right.
We did cryo, and we did red lights.
That's right.
What else? I can't remember.
But I think it was just those three.
Okay.
But that was the first time I'd ever been in a cryogenic chamber, and wow,
you were cold, isn't it?
You were like a big polar bear in there, man. You could see the like frozenness just collecting on your eyebrows and on your shoulders. It was intense. But if you've never done a cryo chamber like that, I would suggest try it once at least. I want to go back and do it again. Cindy got me a gift certificate somewhere that I gotta dig up. But
the only thing I would say, I like the cryo chamber that he has. There are some that use nitrogen. I don't think that's I'm a little leery of that. But if you find the one that like he has, where it's just the nitrogen ones, I think typically only come up to your head sticks out of them.
Oh, okay.
I think, but
yeah,
I'm a little leery of that. But the one like he has, I think, is safe. And actually, I love doing the water. Cold water therapy, and that's actually my favorite way to do it. But
you have your own plunge.
Well, in the wintertime, I use my pool. I keep my pool open all winter, and so I'll get into that thing for a couple minutes.
You definitely.
And it's cold.
Yes,
but I have done just get a horse tank and fill it with cold water and some ice, and you can do it that way. And I haven't hooked it up yet, but I recently bought a water chiller, and so once I have time to get all that going, I'll try that, and that'll be like a summertime cold plunge.
Yeah, that'd be nice
when my pool's too warm.
That'd be nice. Well, man, kept you long enough, and I just have a couple other questions that wanted to ask real quick. What would be some advice you would give to a new musician out in Sioux City wanting to move to Minneapolis, Hawaii, and then Nashville?
Well, you might want to skip the two cities in between. Just go right to Nashville.
Yeah. Just as the crow flies.
I mean, if you're ready, move, try it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always made those moves kind of on a whim, and you just got to. Sometimes you just have to go for it and see what you can make happen. And one thing always leads to another thing.
Yeah.
So you just got to go for it, and you'll figure it out. And the other thing is just do the best you can wherever you go. Try to do the very best you can, and somebody will recognize that, and things will work out.
I love it. Yep, exactly right. It seems that things always have a way of working themselves out.
Yeah, and whether it's the initial thing you went for or not, it doesn't matter, because one thing will always lead to the next thing if you just look for those opportunities.
Right. Great advice. And let's see, sock, shoe, or sock, shoe.
Sock, shoe.
Sock, shoe. Okay. And toilet paper, over or under?
Definitely over.
Over. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's been unanimous.
Okay, great.
Brother, I love you. Thank you so much.
With the cool kids on that one.
You're with the cool kids. Yeah. Thank you so much. Let Amy in. I can hear her out there like...
Yeah, she's wanting to come in.
Let me in. And I appreciate your time, and I appreciate all you do for the band. And thank you.
I appreciate you, Dean. I love you, man.
I love you too, Dan. Have a great day, buddy.
All right, you too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
There he is, ladies and gentlemen, my friend Denny Hemingson. What a great dude. I love that guy. He is my brother from another mother. If you'd like to find out more about Denny Hemingson and maybe some functional medicine questions, you can check him out at allaccesshealthpass.com. Or if you're a singer, guitar player, and you want some sweet Nashville steel guitar on your tracks, check him out at soundbetter.com/Denny Hemingson. Thank you guys so much for being here. My name's Dino. Until next time, you guys be good to each other, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.